I've been set back a bit in my videos because of getting sick and traveling for the holidays, but I'm ready to continue with telling you about the vineyard last season. We're pretty much at the latter part of the season and there was a lot coming in. The cucumbers had taken over a huge section of the bed in between the grape rows. As well, the melons had taken over a huge area on the western end of the bed. And the cowpeas, most of which ended up being of a pole habit, were climbing up the grape trellises and covering the vines. So I'm out here in this melon patch, squash patch. I'm looking to see if there are any Moon and Stars watermelon in here. Haven't found any yet, but there's got to be some. It's not like the biggest vine. I don't think there are very many vines that actually took in here. So we'll have to see if I get any watermelon at all. That over there is pumpkin. And then on the other side is just like tons of a melon. And I know that there's lots of melons on that vine right there. And then I've got way more summer squash than I know what to do with. So I think I'm gonna just stop harvesting summer squash because I have so many bags of them. Probably best to continue to harvest them because they're really only good for like a day or two before they start to get seedy, even like after you've harvested them. So I might just kind of chuck the older ones that I have that I haven't eaten that are seedy by now. Although I did make zucchini bread that was really good last night. But I can really only use my oven rarely and infrequently in this heat. I just don't want to use it at all because it's like 90% humidity and, you know, like in the 90s every day. That's a melon right there forming. There's one bigger one right there. Oh, there's a watermelon. It's way over here. Every time there's a watermelon, it just looks pretty deformed and not developed very much. I don't know if that's can't be from lack of water. Put this back here. 2 melons right there. Just like tons of them. Look back there. There's 3 right there. So I think I'm gonna get quite a few melons. Which is great because I love muskmelon. And if I can get to them before something else gets into them, that would be great. This is what happened to the grapes this year, at least most of them, because of all the rain we've been getting. And I don't spray these with anything just because I've tried using different kinds of control for bunch rots and it just doesn't work, you know? It's really not worth the time that it takes to spray in here because even at best, they might get like 15% protection, you know? And like the amount of grapes on here that are actually surviving is just not worth it. Like I might as well just like cut all these off because it's not worth trying to protect them from birds. This is Frontenac, which I think in colder climates, less humid climates like Wisconsin and Minnesota does better and it's more disease resistant, but that's where it was developed. The variety was developed, but here it's just way too rainy and hot. And all these diseases just kind of go nuts here. This is Price. And almost every year this one gets bunch rots. We've just been getting so much rain lately probably because of climate change. One of the predictions about climate change is that, you know, the hotter the atmosphere gets, the more moisture it can hold, the more severe the storms will be, and the more rain you'll get in a lot of areas. I think this is Leon Malo maybe. And it's somewhat disease resistant if it gets a lot of airflow, but it does kind of get the bunch rots as well. Some of these clusters here are getting bunch rot. I think this one might be Delaware. And it actually is pretty disease resistant. And I'm trying to make cuttings of this because it does really well in this vineyard. And it's like a pink variety. and I would love to have a lot more of it. But you can see, like, even in this wet year, this is pretty disease resistant. It doesn't have the bunch rots. Because it's a pink grape, it's good for like a rosé or a white kind of wine, white type of wine. These are a Concord type. They're getting a little bit of disease, a little bit of the bunch rot, you can see. A lot more than other years, because usually they don't get it as bad. But this year it's just raining every week, at least like one big downpour, like several inches or a few inches. Over here are more Concord types. These are doing pretty well. There's some Edelweiss on one of these in here. I can't remember which one. They kind of look all the same, but Edelweiss is a white grape. So yeah, these are doing fairly well. And these are also in here is a variety called Bay that is like an ancestor of Concord that I took cuttings of from around Ohio and near Lake Erie where I grew up. And these are starting to get the bunch rot. So these are not really making it this season. It's a little too wet. I'm not like super upset about not getting a lot of Concord. I kind of feel like I have enough Concord wine backstock right now that I'm not sad if these don't produce a lot. And then we get down to here. These are all Bay, and then I have maybe like 5 regular Concord vines down at the end here. Oh, and there's 2 bunnies. I always have tons of bunnies. Cod's in trouble. Yeah, this is Concord right here. And these usually get bigger, much bigger than the other Concord type grapes do, but these are, you can see, also getting the bunch rot this season. It's just too wet. This lower part of the vineyard here, I planted several years ago now, and these vines have just not done much of anything. There's some vines that are varieties that I don't have anywhere else. I think there's one called Edelmina or something. It's a white variety, and it seems to do pretty well, but it's taken a long time for these to get established, I think, because I didn't add like enough inputs to the soil. So I added a lot of composted manure to this vineyard this year, and I've definitely noticed that a lot of these vines have now started taking off, and they're kind of growing enough to actually reach the top of the trellis just in this one season. So it's a good sign, and I think in future years a lot of these vines that have been just kind of lingering and just not doing very well are hopefully going to grow and up to the top of the trellis and then start just spreading out on these trellises and fill in this part of the vineyard. This is a Frontenac Gris, which is like a kind of in between the purple Frontenac and the white, the Frontenac Blanc. I think it's kind of funny that they try to name these French names. They want to name these French names because they want to like try to appeal to the French ancestry of winemaking, I guess. It just seems kind of ridiculous, like pandering to this idea of it has to be French in order for it to taste good. And especially now that like the wine industry is suffering, like California is like not harvesting hundreds of thousands of tons of grapes every year now because there's just not a market for it, because baby boomers are dying off and wine was a trend for them, and like Gen Z and younger people are just not interested in wine. This here is Norton. Just in every year it's perfect. Like even no matter how much rain we get, the clusters of grapes are perfect, and you can see like these are just loaded with grapes. And it's a purple grape and makes a good full-bodied red wine. It's very late emerging. It doesn't get hit by late frosts. And it fruits reliably in every season. People who drink French wine would turn up their noses at wine made from this. But it's seen as a hybrid. It's not a traditional French variety that people recognize. And so they turn up their nose at it. Another smoke day, so it's kind of hazy. But man, we've been getting so much rain, and I finally was able to get out and mow. It's also like our mower and our tractor mower have been on the fritz during the peak growing season for grass. So it's just been out of control, able to mow. So finally, our mower is fixed and I'm able to mow. But the edamame in the vineyard is pretty much a total loss thanks to the rabbits coming and going as they please inside the electric netting. The plants have been pretty much stripped of leaves and prevented from growing any new ones. The buckwheat has continued to produce deflated seeds, I'm not sure why, possibly from the plants being too close together and too weedy. I broadcast seeded them thinking that they could be a cover crop and smother other weeds, but that hasn't happened. I've already started harvesting beans from the Jacob's cattle. As well, the cowpeas are drying down and producing seed to harvest. Maybe these will actually ripen before I leave next week. Get off of the ground though. They tend to rot. Yeah, they've got squash bugs all over them. I didn't even think that squash bugs were interested in melons. That one looks like it's got some kind of scab or something. There's another smoky day. Sun is still pretty high in the sky, and it's orange. Damn. I'll be posting more videos about the vineyard and gardens in the coming weeks to get you all inspired for the coming season. I always love thinking about the gardening season during the winter. I've already placed my seed order and I'm excited to try some new things next season in the vineyard and in my gardens to increase my self-sufficiency. So if you enjoy my videos, give this one a like and click the bell to get notifications when I post a new video. And if you'd like to support the production of more of these videos and get a sneak peek of all my videos as well as other video updates you won't find on my channel, become a patron at patreon.com/hardcoresustainable. And I'll see you next time. And as always, thanks to my current patrons for supporting this channel.